Hey everyone, my name is Matthew Dale, and I am here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. And I am what you would commonly refer to as a fingerstyle guitar player. I, on average, and I would say on average, I mean 99 times out of 100, am playing with my thumb pick. This is a Fred Kelly Bumblebee Jazz style pick. I really like these picks for my style of playing. I have a link to these in the description box below if you want to check these out for yourself. And I play with my fingers. And in particular, I have nails on my right hand to just help facilitate my style of playing, which I'll go into. When you start getting into fingerstyle guitar, the age-old question is, do you grow your nails out? Do you play with nails, or do you not play with nails? And we're going to talk about that question today. I'm going to go through why you would want to play with nails versus just the fleshy part of your fingers. I'll go into some nail care, stuff that I use. I also use acrylic on my fingernails, so we'll talk about why that has its advantages and disadvantages. Basically, everything you need to know and more about playing guitar with nails. So why would we want to actually utilize nails in our playing? Basically, especially for me in playing with a thumb pick, nails give me more volume. More volume when I am playing, if I just kind of wind up my guitar here. And what I'm looking for is an evenness. So here's my thumb played with a hard pick, right? So this is actually a super heavy or ultra heavy, I don't know, whatever their max heavy is on the Bumblebee pick. I use the biggest one I can get because I like a really firm pick and I like the sound of it. So all those notes are pretty even. I don't have one group of notes or one note in particular that is a lot louder than the other. Now, on this preset, let me just make sure that, yeah, I do have a little bit of a compressor going, but nothing that's a crazy amount of compression. So when I play all these notes in kind of a block pattern, when I mean block pattern, I'm blocking out these chords, almost playing the chords as a piano player would be playing chords, just attacking the notes rather than a strum, which would be something like that. A little bit of a different style. All those notes sound even. That is the advantage of using fingernails as opposed to just the bare flesh on your fingers. But there's a couple of misconceptions when we talk about this. One, I'm not only using my fingernails to pluck the strings. So I'm not subbing anything out here, right? So I'm not like just grabbing that note with the nail and trying to pluck that. It's actually really hard to do. Some people might do that. I don't. My style of fingerstyle is adopted from the Andre Segovia classical school of fingerstyle, which starts with the flesh on the note. This is also how you can control the sounds and get a nice, clean, muted, nice, clean mutes happening. Just muting the fingers here. There'd be a little bit of noise from my thumb pick, but that's because I'm using a thumb pick. So using the flesh will kind of deaden the strings before the next attack, which can make things sound cleaner. So I'm actually starting on the fleshy part of my finger. And then as I go through with the pluck, the string glances off the fingernail. So I'm not solely plucking with the nail. I've got flesh. That flesh goes into the fingernail, and the fingernail finishes it off. And the fingernail itself is a ramp. It's not just like I'm growing my nails out. I actually have a very particular shape that I use. So you can kind of see I've got this ramp style thing that's going and creating this angle on the top of my nails. So basically, if you can kind of follow, the string is going to pass over this and be forced up there. Same thing with the third finger. my nail shape is to facilitate this ramp action, to push the string actually further in the guitar. If you know anything about Wes Montgomery, who played with his thumb, he liked the sound of pushing the string into the guitar so it would vibrate this way. And it's kind of the same thing. So, you know, Wes would do stuff like... And then that action with the thumb is kind of pushing the strings into the guitar. It's the same thing with fingernails. They are pushing. They are pushing the strings into the guitar, resulting in a fuller tone than just sort of plucking and grabbing the strings with just the fingernail. Also, another misconception is you need really long nails to do this. If I hold my nails up just at a distance, my nails don't look especially long, right? I don't have these giant claw things. I'm not like Freddy Krueger, you know, playing the guitar or anything. And these are probably on the shorter persuasion. I actually just got these done, and I just shaped these nails today, so this is very fresh as I'm doing this. They are just enough to kind of go over the fleshy part of the of my finger to facilitate that ramp action. I really don't get much longer than this. You can, in a classical sense, a longer nail will actually give you more volume. A shorter nail will give you less volume. But really, for me, I just need to find kind of my happy space. So this is probably on the shorter end of my happy space. I might go a little bit longer, file them back, shape them again, and yada, yada, yada. Too long of a nail, although it will give you a louder tone, will make you slower. And especially, you know, playing on like an electric guitar with a skinnier nut width than like a big classical guitar, you can kind of get those longer nails held up in the guitar, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep these to be just enough length to get me the volume that will even out with my thumb pick, and then not so long that I feel like I'm stumbling over myself. Now, along with the shaping, I'm going to kind of scoot up again so you can see, even though I have this ramp that's up here, I have a lot of smooth edges on the nail itself. I don't have any sort of hard angles or anything. I don't want the string to be held up on any sort of hard corners or sharp angles or anything like that. So in addition to having this ramp action, I also kind of smooth out the edges. How do I do that? I've got in this unsuspecting little microphone bag, I've got my toolkit of sorts that I will break up. So Vaseline, I'll talk about that in a second, but I've got a pretty decent file in here that I shape. I've got just a regular nail clippers in here, which is good to have. I use this not so much for actually shaping my nails, but cleaning up my cuticles around my nails. One thing that's really annoying as you're playing and you're getting in between the strings, if you have like, you know, loose hanging dead cuticles that are like getting caught up in there, that's really annoying. And I don't like that. So I chop those guys off with that. You can get a cuticle thing. I don't know the technical terms about this stuff. I just know what I like. So you can get like a cuticle trimmer or whatever. And then this one, which is probably the best tool in here for playing with nails, is this 7-sided nail buffer. And I'll talk about that in a second. So just these 4 things in order of how I would do this stuff. I'd clean up my cuticles with this nail clippers, get my overall shape together with the nail file, and then I would go to the 7-sided buffer. So just like with a pick, where we like our picks to have a very smooth and consistent edge, and even if you do something like the John Petrucci picks that have that bevel on them, I actually kind of wear a bevel into these picks just naturally through playing them. So I like them after they've been worn in about a week or so, then I really kind of like where that pick is. I like to smooth the edge of my nail, almost like it's just like touching glass or something. So these 7-sided nail buffers are really good. I'll start on this very fine grit. It says to smooth the edges. I don't really subscribe to what it's writing on there because I think technically you're supposed to use this on the tops of the nails. I don't know. Again, I don't really know how this stuff is actually supposed to be used. I just know how I like to use it for guitar playing. So from there, I will just work my way up through the grits. There is a step 4, even out. I will smooth on there. Step 5, smooth out. I will just keep going up all the way to side 7. And by the time you hit side 7, shine, then you've got a really glassy fingernail edge that the string just sort of glances off of and rides on top of, rather than getting hung up in any sort of gritty, uneven, jagged surface that would be straight off of a file or a nail clippers or anything like that. So really important. Now, Vaseline, this is something that my nail tech, yes, I have a nail tech, I'll talk about that in a second. This is something that my nail tech said, that Vaseline is really good for your cuticles. I mentioned this earlier in the cleanup part of my guitar player's manicure, I guess. I get really dry cuticles and they split off and they kind of do their own thing. So this will keep them nicely hydrated and prevent them from doing that. So I don't always use this as much as I should probably, but it is helpful for that. I've also tried some like Burt's Bees cuticle cream that seems to do pretty well as well, but this stuff, is probably cheaper and lasts forever, and just a little thing of Vaseline. So those are the tools that I use to get my nail shape and to smooth the nails out so they sound good and they sound the way that I want them to. But as I mentioned earlier in this video, I have one other sort of trick up my sleeves, and that's me using acrylics on my nails. This is pretty far down into the rabbit hole of using nails, going the route of acrylics. For a long time, I didn't use any acrylics. I didn't really use any sort of products. Every now and then I might use like a nail hardener, like Hard as Nails or something. That doesn't really work, or doesn't really work the way that I wanted the acrylics to be. So for probably, a decade of playing guitar with fingernails, I didn't have any sort of, extra hardness thing going on. It just straight fingernails. If you're playing just nylon string, just classical, or a classical style guitar, nylon string guitar, that's probably going to be okay. But repeated use of fingernails on a steel string instrument, be it steel string, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, or whatever, it's going to eat through your nails, your natural nails, especially if you have thinner nails as well. Also, I'm a bit of a hobbyist woodworker, and I work with my hands a lot, and that's just detrimental for your fingernails, as you could imagine. So I ended up I would break them often. I'd break, especially if they were starting to get pretty long, I'd break my nails and be like, oh crap, what am I going to do for this gig this weekend? So finally, about a year and a half ago, I started to go the route of acrylics on my nails. And this makes the nails extremely strong, extremely resilient to damage, and damage and kind of, filing down from playing the guitar. It holds up to a buff really well. So rather than buffing every day or every other day, I might buff my nails once a week, twice a week now that I'm using acrylics. And it's overall just been way better. Now, there's an added expense to that. Usually, I don't know, it might be somewhere in the realm of, between, I don't know, I'm guessing here because everyone's going to be a little bit different, but anywhere between $20 and $40. I just get acrylics on these 3 nails. These are just my guitar nails here, first, second, and third finger. Some people play with the pinky. I don't. And rather than using the thumb as your plucking mechanism, as I said, I use this thumb pick. So I just focus on these. So it could range anywhere from I don't know, $20 to $40 per visit when you go in, depending on who you're going to and all of that stuff. Don't quote me on that. That's just a general idea. And I need to go in about once every 2 to 3 weeks for what they call fill-in. So as your nail grows out, obviously the acrylic doesn't grow with it, so they need to go in and backfill the acrylic so that you have a complete acrylic nail. If you don't, then your nail could get caught up if you're really deep inside the strings. Sometimes you can get caught up and kind of grab that nail, that acrylic part of the nail, on the way out of the strings. But that really only happens at that like 3-week mark for me. Now, along with the added cost and added maintenance, there is also a little bit of an elephant in the room where if you are like me and going to a salon, nail salon for like the very first time, and you know that you have kind of a strange request that you only want acrylics on these 3 nails, it's going to feel probably a little bit awkward going in like, I just want acrylics here, and you can, if you want to try to shape them, you can kind of try to shape them, or let me shape them and then you can finish them up, yada, yada, yada. I would say the best thing probably to do is if your wife, girlfriend, significant other, whatever, if they go to a nail salon on the regular, then go with them. That'll probably be a little bit easier and less uncomfortable for the first couple of times going in. But my wife she does her nails at home. She doesn't really go to the nail salon. So I was kind of on my own. And I did do a little bit of shopping around. I went to a couple different locations, and I finally found a place that I'm really comfortable with going. And my nail tech, Mandy, knows my nail shape extremely well, so I don't need to worry about her screwing up my shape or anything, or need to worry about me having to, redo the shape or whatever. I do matte finish, so it looks like, normal. It doesn't look like I got, painted nails or a gloss finish on these nails or something. Matte looks pretty normal for me. That's great. And now that I've been going for, a year and a half to this same place, it's pretty easy just to go in. They know how to do my nails and get out, and I'm out in about 30 minutes, and I'm good for the next 3 weeks of. Now, that added maintenance can also be a downside to acrylic. Even though acrylic really benefits my playing, and it's stronger, it's more resilient, it's louder, it feels better, there's a lot stiffer. So like going acrylics is like, playing a thin guitar pick for the longest time, and then going to something that's a heavier pick, and you're like, oh wow, this is so much better. Same thing with acrylic. My regular nails were like, Dunlop thins, and now I'm going to the extra heavy, and it just feels like I have that much more command of the strings. Those are all good things. The added expense and the added maintenance and the fact that I need to go someplace to get my nails done in order to really get to the point of my peak playing again is annoying. It is a sacrifice, but if you can justify that sacrifice for what you're getting out of it, then you might be interested in acrylics. And like I said, if you're playing on steel string, electric acoustic, then you will probably get a lot out of playing fingerstyle with nails and acrylics on your nails. Also, the acrylics, and I didn't really know this going into it, but the acrylic that they use to put on your nail is not like one of those press and stick nail things. They actually have acrylic powder that they dissolve in sort of solvent, and they actually can form this custom nail to your nail. And then they further shape that and yada, yada, yada. So it doesn't feel like there's any sort of extra. Now, in addition to fill-in, you will also probably have to get new ones every couple of months or so. Sometimes what can happen is as the nail grows underneath it, it will start to lift and pull off of the top of your actual nail and separate. Now, if you have good nail techs, they'll be like, okay, we need to do a new one here. I can repair this. I can do that here, and so on and so forth. And it is really important that you have a good nail tech that knows how to remove just that top thin layer of your fingernail, because acrylic will not stick to skin. So if you have just a little bit of that thin cuticle that's on top of that, and I've even had it happen where it just happens then, a couple hours that next day, where all of a sudden now you've got lift happening in a corner somewhere and whatever. But that's why you want to go around and shop around some different places and get a nail tech that really does a great job. And I found one of those, which is really great at the place that I go. So nails will make your fingerstyle playing louder and more even. It will actually probably make you a little bit faster because the strings have something hard and glassy to bounce off of. Acrylics are great. It's like playing an extra heavy pick on top of your nails if you like to play with a heavy pick like I do. The downside is it is more maintenance. You really have to be extra careful about how you're playing and probably a little bit careful about how you are using your hands in general, just in life, so that you don't, it sounds kind of goofy, but break a nail and have your playing compromised. Acrylics are really strong. They also have their downside. And I hope this video was a little bit helpful for you in deciding what are the advantages and disadvantages of playing with guitar nails. Obviously, I like them. I've been doing guitar nails. I've been playing guitar with nails for well over a decade now, and I don't really foresee me ever going back. So if you play with nails or if you hate playing with nails or whatever, drop me a comment below. Really nothing crazy going on in this video, just talking about my experience. If you do want to check out my 100% free guide, my Essential Music Theory cheat sheet, I will have that linked in the description box below, or you can check that out at matthewdale.com/theory to get better at music theory, because let's be honest, a little bit of music theory never hurt anyone. If you want to try out my thumb picks, the Fred Kelly Bumblebee Jazz picks, and you can find those linked in the description box below. My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more, and I'll see you in the next video.